Think I go down to Venice Beach, bury my head down in the sand.
What about the 21 extra police officers? Are we
Not doing it right, we're still not doing it right.
just wondering if
I'm
they're...
sorry, we were really interrupting. What?
Oh, the extra 21 police officers, are they going to stay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Permanently? Permanently?
Indefinitely.
Great. Thank you.
Are there any plans to have the police start a shift that would include 9 o'clock?
Well, Sergeant Rainick can probably better answer that, but we address the needs of officers based on certain statistics and stuff, and he will assign the officer that he sees fit to what time.
I know the ones that patrol in the morning. They always say, "Well, we want to send you to the SUV people, you know, the police in the SUVs."
The officers do have certain hours that they work, but they also are assigned to, you know, individual issues as they rise up.
Anybody else?
I have a follow-up question. The 21 police officers, I was just told that 17 have been added to the police force. Is this over that 21 here in Venice, or is this, are you talking about the same 21?
Well, the overall number for the division, I'm not sure. You know, it's very complicated the way that happens. But as far as the officers assigned to the police detail and the task force for over in Venice, that only dropped by 2. So.
Wait, now there were 21 that came over the summer.
Yeah.
And then they're not leaving. Is that right?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but a lot went back to the divisions, but other divisions had their own bodies in, and some people came in on the transfer, so it's kind of complicated. So overall, the number in Pacific area, I'm not sure if we were up or down in the total number of police officers, which is, you know, like 200-300. But as far as the task force officers and the beach detail officers, they only dropped by 2.
So that's not, it's actually 19 and not 21, is that what you're saying? Or do I still don't have it right?
Yeah, it's you know, in a sense you could say 19, but the task force is still around 42 officers.
Okay.
I get confused too sometimes.
Every month it's a different number. So.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I'm curious what the incident was on the north end of the boardwalk last night around 8 o'clock, and I will repeat my concern with the excessive speed of officers responding down the boardwalk. Can you tell me what was going on down there?
Yeah, you know, last night we had a guy who went over by Washington in Speedway and tagged all the buildings and on the city property a lot. Probably 7 or 8 different victims, and someone had called today that was following them, and he's trying to get away. So the officers are trying to catch up with them. But I'll address the issue with the speed.
The last time we talked about this, and this is sort of a pet peeve of mine. I'm very concerned with safety. And the last time I understand there was an officer down up at the bistro, and so maybe speed. Would you mind stepping aside so I can see if I'm speaking with police? Thanks.
Can you move?
I can understand
can't see
that
him.
incident,
Please.
but tagging a building, I don't know if it justifies that kind of speed. It was
as to like the arrest. If we had an issue when they're arresting them, that's why I would respond to or that. But it's just a simple try to catch up with someone. They arrested him, and there's really no reason for that, and I'll address that with the officers.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do have a question. It seems like the thing that keeps coming up that is a viable solution if the city actually could do something about this is time and time again, all the vendors, like Gary was saying, is like, why don't you have the police out there at 9 o'clock so you can resolve some of these disputes? If you do that enough, you get in the middle of this 9 o'clock rat race that's going on, people will quit showing up at 4 or 5 in the morning because they'll know that LAPD will be there to break your back.
And that is a great idea, and we do assign officers down there.
There's no one there.
Yeah, but hang on a second. We do assign officers down there at that time, but I will tell you there is a lot of things going on in this division, not only at the beach, and we will put the resources where we need to put them for the most seriousness of the crime. I know that is a problem down there, and we do address it, but it's on an order of priority. So But
you know what, you do that enough if you crack down on them,
I agree with you, and we do make numerous arrests down there just regarding that issue.
Okay, but you come and it's after 9 o'clock when you get there, and you decide to arrest both people, or not at all, okay, because you can't determine who was actually in the space first because you got there after 9 o'clock.
Like I said, we address the issues as we have the manpower to deal with that. We have a lot of stuff going on in the division that we have to utilize our officers for that are much more serious than, and I will hate to say this, babysitting people that can't get along standing next to each other. And I hear you, it would be nice if we could just have a force of police officers out there to babysit them because they can't get along, but we can't always do it. However, we do address the issue.
You can go to the blocks that are really contentious. There's a couple blocks out there, one up there by Rose, okay, and that one by the...
Let's talk about it.
One of the things that we had talked about, you and I, before, that if the injunction went in the lottery, that this stuff would occur, and almost immediately it did. And I've said it over and over in these meetings, that
I understand.
Assaults occurred, the extortion, the criminal threats, all that stuff occurs. It's occurring right now. We have an officer taking a report on the beach right now.
So you weren't prepared for the injunction, that's what you're saying.
I caught over
because
there.
of, and
I caught over there this morning.
because of, because of the,
So tired of the city, man. I came to you and told you it would happen, and you should have had a backup in case. But you thought you were going to win and you lost.
I called Lieutenant Day this morning because somebody pushed me and didn't get no response.
Let me finish. So, when the injunction went into place, obviously these crimes occurred. Obviously, this division is limited in the resources. I would love to have 10 or 15 officers down there at 4, 5, 6 in the morning all morning monitoring, but it's very difficult. You know, we have a lot of, if you look at the crime stats, girl, all throughout this area, all throughout the night, there's stuff going 24 hours. You know, we do the best we can with what we have. So.
Sergeant Reed.
Yes.
I called over here this morning because I was pushed by the guy. I talked to Lieutenant Daly. I called him the desk. I got the desk number. I stayed out there for like 30 or 40 minutes. Nobody came. Not that it was that important, but with me it is important because.
And you know, Michael, I'm aware of your incident. And Lieutenant Day told me before I came down there.
Right.
I actually sent a car down there that was on the
correct. And I was on my way over here, but not that it's that important whether the push or anything, because you know I can deal with that. But my whole thing is that when people put their hands on people, that's when it becomes criminal. Yeah. You know. And here's the thing: is can we work out a peaceful system that, here again, like we tried to come to you guys way before to work it out where everything makes sense, but the arrogance of
the proposals that came to me from you and from Matthew Dow, I looked at. They were given to people that obviously higher than me that have the authority to make change and there's a lot of issues with some of those proposals, some of the things we took from it, some we didn't. I went to a meeting with the council office and the city attorneys and proposed some ideas based on what I see out there and the input from the vendors. But it's a very frustrating process because you think you have a great idea and you throw it in front of the attorneys and then they pick it apart.
The legislation part.
And they start taking little things, you can't do this, can't do that. And there's always going to be, well, so far, a flaw in the solution that we come up with. So we're still working on it, and maybe we can come up with some type of non-lottery system where people get spaces, but I don't know. Right now it's still kind of fluid. We're trying to figure out something to do.
And I really don't know what to say about that, but here's in everything, it should be, instead of the LAPD enforcement, it should be team blocks and organization from the community. And this is what I've always said, and what was wrong with LAPD. I think the first step should be the community and team organizers that really have the control and the respect. And yeah, you're gonna get some people that...
If we felt that communities, members could come together in groups like the Peacekeeper organization that's coming here, with Stephen Fisk, and organize that, and we felt that it would be true and honest and full of integrity, then we would back that. We have issues with people along the boardwalk who want to do those kind of things. In the north end, there's a few that have the same type of proposal, but we're concerned that maybe they're just going to corner the market, so to speak. So there has to be some type of ability to make sure it's a fair system and everyone gets a chance.
Okay, and my next question to you, and when you mention Stephen Fisk, here's my only problem with Stephen Fisk is I've never seen him actually be a boardwalk street vendor or anything, so it would be kind of hard for me to respect him with no years behind him or any.
And here's a perfect example. Here's a proposal by someone named Stephen Fisk who's got great ideas, and then people like you and me, and you look at it and say, well, what about this and what about that? And you're not a vendor, and you at least chip away at the proposals. So every time there's a good proposal, it kind of falls apart. So
can I just address that? No, I'm trying to rework that thing, and I'm supposed to. I don't know if I'll still be on the agenda at this time because it does address commercial vending. But I had asked for 15 minutes at the Oceanfront Walk Committee meeting, which is next week. So we'll see whether I get on the agenda or not. Okay, but I can tell you from my personal opinion about the legality of that thing is still, even if I'm working on it or someone that's really familiar with the ordinance and the rules, it's still going to be constitutionally, questionable. There's just it's in a public forum.
Yeah, and
you see what I'm saying?
All these proposals are great, but it really comes down to city.
To legislation.
It comes down to it comes down to getting the vendors to buy into something, which means there has to be something for everybody in it, which is what I'm trying to do. Okay.
Well, I think we can talk about that later. But
yeah, we're at that meeting that you're talking about.
If you have any ideas that you want plugged into that thing, now's the time because I'm working on it now.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just wanted to bring up some of the property owners of the Oceanfront Walk buildings. A lot of them I've been noticing they're carving up their properties into smaller sort of storefronts now. And I've looked up online for a few of the buildings. For example, the one on the corner of North End Boulevard and Oceanfront Walk. It was legally permit was for a storefront for 2 storefronts. Now the guy's cut it up to be 5. And he has a pot doctor on the side with no usable bathroom or hot water or cold water. So technically, I think it's not permitted to be an 8-unit property. So I thought maybe is there any sort of thing we could look into that? Each property owner, because I've noticed a few of them have been doing they're cutting their properties up to probably make more money, but I don't think they're not zoned to be multi-unit store properties.
Right. And again, that's building and safety.
Yeah.
Again, they'll get an inspector out there. Building and safety is not expecting the individual or the constituent to do some of that research that you talked about.
But then what they ask is the address, and a lot of them have the addresses completely erased off the building.
Well, that's why our building and safety will do the diligence to get the clarification of the address, the property, what's on file.
I've called, they said they can't do anything unless they give an address. And I said, there's no address in the building. Sorry.
Send the information to me.
Okay.
Yeah, then you can send the information to me. We can go ahead and do part and parcel. And then I can begin also working with Bureau of Engineering. Because Bureau of Engineering has all the plots too,
okay.
Highlighting where, again, property lines are, even without addresses. And then I can get BOE, Bureau of Engineering, to work with Building and Safety. But again, unfortunately, it's a reactionary system.
Yeah.
So yeah, folks do have to call
okay.
in.
I mean, as long as someone
it's work on your end, though.
Yeah, no,
I apologize for that. But yeah, if you get that information to me, we can start from there.
And then, have we ever talked about what is legal on the Oceanfront Walk and Windward, where that Venice marketplace is? Sort of like a parking lot that's been converted to booths, Because I've noticed I've gone into each of those booths and they have a lot of illegal wiring. It's very unsafe if you're say a consumer walking in there. And maybe if there's a fire, there's no fire escape, there's no fire detectors, there's no fire extinguishers.
Yeah. Those booths are on private property, but again, Bureau of Engineering has all the plots for that. So if you have the specific locations, send it to me.
I don't think there's ever been a safety check of that property ever.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
probably not. But yeah,
it's a maze in there.
It's a legitimate issue.
Yeah,
and definitely email me and then we can go from there.
Think I go down to Venice Beach.